No.
Kaboom!
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the AIB Show. This is Amit.
And Dominic.
And Dominic, for those of you who can see, is wearing a button-down shirt. Is that pink?
It is.
Look at this.
It's a light shade.
Light shade of pink. So yeah, so Dominic's trying to get extra. He's taking this podcast very, very seriously and coming in dressed the part for
success.
There you go. We were just having a chat about. Actually, what was the quote? Say the quote again.
My discomfort should not be rooted in your comfort. Meaning, too often, and this is not something I saw it from a friend of a friend on Instagram had said it, actually on a podcast. Essentially, too often in society, we make ourselves uncomfortable for fear of making others uncomfortable and not being true to ourselves. And that should matter most.
Simply put, I got a house guest right now, but there are certain rules that I abide by that some may consider a bit much, but don't really care. In my mind, I was like, if you stay in my house, then my rules apply, period. And so this is the dynamic that spawned this conversation that we're talking about. Because, yeah, if it's too much for you, then by all means, go someplace else. And it's not like I'm here to please you. This ain't Airbnb or a hotel. It's my house. So that was a whole dynamic we're going with there. But beyond that, talk to me, Dominic. What's going on?
You tell me.
Bro, I was on the road. Go ahead.
Kyle Rittenhouse? You following any of the trial?
No, I'm not following the trial specifically, but I mean, I did see his Jordan face situation, but I don't know the specifics. Oh, actually, no, he actually didn't shed any tears, but he did do a very, he did try to conjure a lot of emotion.
It was ridiculous.
It was comedic is what I would use, but yeah.
I mean, because there are images of him, taking pictures after he killed the individuals and shot another one in a bar, throwing up the white power sign, all the smiling, posing, proud of what happened. So all of a sudden in court, the crocodile tears come out and it was pathetic. There weren't tears. Like forcing himself.
That's what I'm saying. He tried his hardest and then realized that he's not an actor. He can't put on
I haven't watched much. I've seen clips, but evidently this judge is something else, right? Because we had talked about this a couple episodes ago where the judge said that the prosecution could not refer to the individuals who were shot as victims because it's a loaded word. But the defense could refer to the protesters as rioters, looters, and arsonists. The defense yesterday, did you see that? They came out and said they don't want any more black pastors to be allowed to come. I mean, if that's not some kind of weird, yeah, they said because they're not directly related to the prosecution and the family, so we need to stop having all of these black pastors come.
Stop having black pastors come to the court?
To watch the court because it's more political. It's just
and what did the judge say about that?
It's just a very loaded
it's not the South. But what did the judge say about this?
It's not the South. What am I saying? Yeah,
God,
I don't know.
You're mixing up your racist situations in America.
I am
this
actually
one's northern racism.
My bad. I'm mixing up cases.
That's what I'm saying. This is northern racism. The other one is Georgia racism.
Yes, yeah. Ahmaud Arbery. You're right.
Correct.
I'm completely mixing up cases. Completely.
We're not all the same, Dominic.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, hold up. So what did the judge say about this? I didn't hear this till right now.
That judge, I'm not sure if he's had a response to that yet.
Amazing. Yeah, no, that
isn't it wild though how the media works? We always say like the media, it's just there to fulfill our insatiable lust for what we think we want and what we believe to be truthful, the left, the right. But what's her name? The girlfriend of Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. I forget her name. Yeah.
Right? Why is there just no info on that case? Anything going on? It just conveniently, and that's not some little thing. That is freaking
trafficking,
major.
Yeah,
sex trafficking, underage trafficking, for years, if not decades, on preying on young girls, right?
But it's one. This is why I always guess when people talk about morality in the media and things of that nature, and what we want as an audience or viewer of a collective of news and stuff like that. And it really, really, really bothers me, because if this is all this really shows to me is that people are as selfish as I think they are. This only doubles down on my standard, which is pretty bad. You know, like at one point I had faith in humanity, in the quote unquote greater good. Like I actually heard a whatchamacallit, an interview this morning actually on the Daily with Tony Fauci, and he was talking about he was like, you know, I have faith that, you know, we as a society will do things for the greater benefit of society and blah blah blah. And I just chuckled. And I was like, what gives you any idea that this is part and parcel of what the society does act, should act, and has ever acted? It's always been self-interest. You know, and the only time that changes is when you're looking at maybe a close friend / family member. But other than that, nah, man, it ain't about society. And the reason I go through that whole diatribe I just did again, which I've done multiple times, is when you come to things like this and the stuff you're talking about in what the media, quote unquote, portrays, it's a matter of dollars. Anger denotes dollars, right?
How does this, I completely agree. How does Epstein not trigger anger?
Because there is no, how do I describe it?
Is it because we're all in agreement? So like in a Marbury case or a Rittenhouse case, there's two distinct sides.
Correct, yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean, with Epstein, there is no side, right? Is that, maybe that's kind of...
that seems, actually, no, I'd give you that, right? It's like if you have, so for example, you and I have these conversations, right, regular. Now, you and I generally are on the same side of a topic. But if we weren't, it may be more engaging.
Yeah, I mean, death penalty, we weren't on the same side.
All right. So, true. You saw Ian's note. So Ian's note right now, Ian's watching us live and chiming in. Quote,
on
unquote,
Facebook.
On Facebook, quote unquote, when girls are willing to take private jets around the world for money, I wouldn't exactly call it trafficking. Now, that's loaded. And here's why I'll say that. Is because the key word there is girls. And a lot of these girls are underage from situations where this could have been anything. It's like taking candy and going to the back of a van if you're a child and bad things happen to you. That's not really on the kid, right? There's some things that's just that your station in life, and many times financially driven, makes you do things or forces you to do things that are, you know, not necessarily in your best interest. But the blame in this situation still goes to the people trying to perpetrate the crime, I would say. Like, it's irrelevant in my mind. But that's my thought on that. What's your thought?
Yeah, because by definition, I think trafficking, I don't think it has to be like forced. Well, meaning these girls weren't necessarily forced, but if they were,
like you have to be chained up or whatever.
If they were
but
bamboozled, hoodwinked, or kind of subtly forced, or because you talked about some of them said they were stuck there, they didn't know what to do, they were made very uncomfortable, and they just wanted it to be over. And I can't put my mindset, you know, to think what a young girl thinks like. You know, admit he was once mistaken for a young Puerto Rican girl. I think that might have been episode 3 or 4. So perhaps he can espouse upon that. I can't.
I already did.
A grown ass man. So yeah, I think the way you stated it is quite succinct yet accurate. That I think the blame still falls on them, and it's preying. Whoops.
Wow, dude.
It's preying.
Yeah, it's literally that. Yeah, it's predatory.
Yeah.
So you can't rely. You can't hope that the kids are going to make the rest decision for themselves. Period. And nor should they be made to, because they are kids, and as kids, you do dumb things. As adults, you do dumb things. As kids, you're even more likely to do dumb things.
And according to these girls, so if we take it for truth, Epstein was involved sexually with some of them as well. So that's also illegal. Take the trafficking out. It's just, what is that? Statutory rape, I believe.
Sure.
So,
sure. Yeah.
But again, I think it's a combination of, we all are in pretty much agreement with this, but maybe not, Ian. But I wonder also if it has to be the power, listen, he was hobnobbing with many of the elite which run these media corporations, right? Whether directly or indirectly. So I probably has something to do with it.
No, it's got no, and that's not to be how do I say this? That actually needs more visibility. Point being, you know full well that's got something to do with it, right? Like it's not so far-fetched to say that because of who it affected and who can be affected by this, that the reporting would because mind you, it's not like any one side is reporting this more than the other. And by side I mean, news outlet that may be more swayed left or right. Neither of them are. Right? Because the powers that be, the people that can be affected by this, are affected by both of these groups. So it's mutually beneficial to kind of let this one just happen. And if something major happens, it'll get a couple of minutes and they move on. Like that's kind of the game right now. It's really, really, it's annoying, plain and simple. Like, for example, like you've heard the whole thing regarding, so another one related to this, right? Adam Schefter. You're familiar with this whole thing with him and Dalvin Cook situation that's going down?
Yes, Adam Schefter is an NFL quote insider, which basically means that he releases a lot of information that's fed to him from NFL execs and agents.
Now, feds, they're the source of the information. It's not like he's parodying it. From that, he will use that to.
No, he's getting it from the sources.
Correct.
He's not the source.
But use the word fed, and fed just means you're a parrot. You're going to repeat it. So I'm just saying that he does his due diligence at that point. He gets the information. Those are his sources. He gets information and then has to do whatever due diligence he needs to do.
No, but that's where you're wrong, because we've realized he doesn't do his due diligence.
No, we've realized that he hasn't in two situations this year. Not that he hasn't in perpetuity or historically. Sorry.
Two situations, we know for a fact, two situations he didn't. We don't know for a fact that he ever has.
But we also don't know the contrary. So as opposed to just calling him disreputable or doing whatever.
Right,
I'm giving the benefit of that for the past.
But he's always fed the information.
I'm with you there. I'm with you there. I said that they're the sources. I said the way. No, by using the term "fed the information," I interpret it as that I'm going to take the information you give me and parrot it out, versus doing any additional work to it. I was only pointing out the fact that that's his source, and he should do work to it.
He fed the information, whether or not he vets it or not.
You're right. My interpretation of that was a little different. That's all it was. Correct.
All right, but go on with the story.
I was just saying the Dalvin Cook situation, right? So now Dalvin Cook, and
an NFL player for the Minnesota Vikings.
Correct. And now enlighten people on the specific situation. I'll get into my diatribe.
Adam Schefter came out with a tweet about there's a situation with Dalvin Cook, and came out saying that he is the victim of domestic abuse.
Correct.
Right.
And the source of that was?
My understanding is Dalvin Cook's agent is the source of that, who fed him the information.
Correct.
Evidently, there may be a little more to the story, where I think they're saying both parties are guilty in some capacity. It was just a dangerous thing he did not look into the lady's side of things and her accusations, and simply took the agent's info that was fed to him as gospel and put it out there.
True. Now, the issue with that I have, and the specific reporting aside, the issue that I have with that is it's one of these things where this situation got blown up because he didn't do his due diligence and so on and so forth. But I'm of the belief, maybe just pessimistic admit here, that nobody gives a crap. And when I say nobody gives a crap, I mean the sports fan. And the people directed this particular news story, generally speaking, are sport fans. And I would go out on the limb and say that sports fans generally don't give a crap. They're supposed to, because society tells them they're supposed to, but they don't. And the reason they don't is because if it affects their team negatively, then that's what they care about. So the entirety of the story itself, not so much significant as opposed to will he or will he not play on any given day, then it matters.
We know the exception to that rule, though.
What's exception?
It's not Mike Vick with the dogs, killing dogs. It's not Ben Roethlisberger raping women.
Correct.
It's someone disrespecting the military and the flag.
Agreed. But my point being of all of this, and even that, by the way, that wasn't the sports fan cause. The sports fan was like, that was one of these.
No. That was also like 49ers fans specifically. And that was the country overall. Yes. Even non-sports fans.
That was a very, so to me, I liken that to Trump, whatchamacallit, riling people up over stuff that they may or may not have given a crap about before. Right? It's people who were looking for something to be angry about and then jumped in a bandwagon for whatever. But generally speaking, to your point, we as sports fans, and I'm putting that as a very broad thing, right? Obviously, rape doesn't seem to bother sports fans. Roethlisberger. Killing dogs doesn't bother sports fans. Oh, Mike Vick's back. He's good. We're fine. He pays a little penalty if you want to call it that. All the abuse, all the whatever that's happened throughout from athletes on every side of the spectrum, against women, men, and everything in between. None of that matters. And we assume that it does matter as a society, and it doesn't. It only matters if it affects your team and it affects you directly. And if that's not a true kind of representation of the way society views these things, right? It's I don't know what is. Like, I'm looking at this and I'm just chuckling. Like, none of it matters. Like, on that same note, Travis Scott and his concert in Texas.
Well, okay, yeah.
All right. So Travis Scott had a concert in Texas, which he does every year apparently, and I'm a little loose in some of this information.
Astroworld.
There you go. So he has his concert every year, and it's a big thing. Crowds, blah blah blah, good times.
Perform there this year.
No, I don't. Masterpiece still around performing?
Hell yeah!
I'm assuming he didn't cause a stampede because ain't nobody charging.
Hey, you want the bucks?
They probably took a coffee break at that point and came back later.
Colonel the Tank, he was performing. Anyway, go on to the story.
Does he even have a new song?
Oh man, he was performing the classics, the hits, the legendary music of the time.
Was he with anybody else? Is anybody?
It was Keith.
Any of his brothers still around doing nothing? Like, where's Silk these days?
He had a song probably 8 years ago.
But Silk is still around?
Yeah, see, murder. It's actually been a lot about him trying to get out of prison and new evidence and everything that he's not guilty. That's a whole other thing.
I'm sure his name didn't help him, by the way. But okay.
That's very true. Yeah. Throughline on NPR, fascinating podcast. You know this. Did you ever listen to those though? About the music ones? No, sorry. Another NPR one called
I know you're talking. It's music.
Louder Than the Riot. Louder Than the Riot. Talked about how the feds used music lyrics to prosecute people, and even somebody, Mac, who was a No Limit artist, after 20 decades came out proven innocent, that they used their lyrics to prosecute them, which in my opinion is beyond ridiculous, because we don't use, say, an actor's performance to try and prosecute for them for something they did. Let's say they were accused of murder, and in a movie they acted and murdered somebody.
If they wrote the scene where they acted and murdered somebody,
they still wouldn't.
Valid, but that would be more comparable.
Yeah, but they still wouldn't. So it's just it's just artistic freedom, which is being infringed upon.
Yep. No, I'm with you.
The justice system. Anyway, my bad again. Go on with Astroworld.
Yeah. So there was a stampede, and I believe 7 people died. Right? That's the crux.
8 people died, and the 9th one died today because sadly, this girl was being rescued and carried out on a stretcher, and the paramedics and police dropped her, and she fell on her head.
Oh, damn!
Yes, that's very horrible.
Wow.
So 8 people died then, including children. And now a 9th one has died. And I think it was some crazy, like 200 or 300 people got injured.
Yeah, the stampede was pretty ridiculous from what I understand.
It's sad when I heard a grandfather had a child on his shoulder, and then he passed out because of the stampede and fell down a pad. He died. And
what was the stampede? What caused the stampede, by the way? Because
I guess when I think
people just
when
wanted to rush
Travis
to
got
see him
on stage, people rushed, and it was thousands.
All right, people are idiots. But so here's a situation that's related to this, right? So this thing happens, right? So as a society, we're like, oh my God, that's really sad, right? And this happened. You brought up kids and grandfathers or whatever, as if that's supposed to make you feel more or less sad. I don't know. But the point being, apparently, you're supposed to feel more sad.
You could argue that kids is more sad.
I'm not, I mean,
than say me or you.
I don't know why I'm less valuable than a child. No, I think you should be sad if I were passed in a stampede. I mean, I'm a little more, and any stampede, it's not like I have much over a chance than a child as well.
We've lived life. They've been robbed of living life.
What does that even mean? Okay, this whole, how much life have I lived, by the way? That these kids they're probably better off not living the life I led. Actually, that's too much. I take it back. That was way too much. Wow, that was bad. That was so bad. I'm gonna edit that out. That was horrible. Take that back. That is not what I meant. Apologies through and through. That was garbage on my part. What I meant was, well, no, the reason I brought this whole story was Khloe Kardashian. You familiar with this part?
I'm gonna give you an even better one, but go on. Yes.
So Khloe Kardashian decided to post the day after, or something to that effect, something pretty close, a bunch of images on her Insta, in what's supposed to be some sexy apparel. And I say supposed to be because God knows she's not sexy, but it's not the point. It's neither here nor there, right? And so there were these images that were posted on her social, and it got panned by everybody. Page 6, everybody's out there going tone deaf, tone deaf, tone deaf, tone deaf, tone deaf. And I find it comedic because it's not tone deaf, and because she doesn't care, and because if you're affected, it matters. It matters Travis Scott because it's his thing, and financially it's gonna have an impact, and maybe it affects him emotionally as well. But she obviously doesn't care. Tone deaf should not be the scenario. She don't give a crap about you guys. And even you realize before, she don't care. And the people who are viewing her stuff in general, generally speaking, her fans are unaffected by when she posted that. Meaning they weren't going, oh, you shouldn't do this at whatever time. It doesn't matter is my point. Because we in society don't care. Also,
she's not Travis Scott's girlfriend. Her sister is.
But what does it even matter? Even if she's his girlfriend, what does it matter? Hold up. So something happens at an event that I have at work, and so now my wife can't go out and do whatever she needs to do. Girlfriend, otherwise. What is
not that she can't. It's there is a time and okay. Let's make it,
what? Why?
Let's make it an even darker.
Then how far does it go down then? So
that's a good question. Slippery slope. Like, it doesn't go down 24 hours later. That's not where it goes down.
Hold up, but that's because now. So because she's a sister of the person you're dating.
You're not realizing this. Travis, I'll get into this. Travis Scott is being canceled, right?
Okay.
So I'm with you in the Khloe, but you're saying if it was what's the sister's name? What's
I don't know, man. Whatever.
Kylie
sure, fine.
Is Travis Scott's? I don't know if they're together or not. Baby mama, girlfriend, whatever.
So right? She can't post anything.
I mean, I would say just out of respect
for whom?
Not to post. I haven't seen his pictures of Khloe, but they're supposedly sexual in nature and things.
No, she's wearing like a leotard type situation.
Okay, so but here's what Us Weekly did, or People Magazine.
So now hold up. So Kylie can't because she's dating Travis, for example. Khloe's a sister, so Khloe can't either by association. Like, how far does this go down? Then can Mama can?
No, I'm with you that it should be direct. Cousin? Listen, you don't even think direct should. You think even direct should get a pass?
I'm saying Travis Scott did it, bro. Come on, man. What's wrong with you guys?
Anything besides,
I'm saying he can't and shouldn't. Forget can't, shouldn't. It's his own damn thing. And turn your phone on vibrate, guy. What did Us Weekly do?
I'm saying it's just direct. So, but here to what People Magazine came out and said.
Hold up, Us Weekly, People Magazine. You keep throwing up different titles.
I used to subscribe to Us Weekly as a fact. You remember that for years.
But who's the thing you're talking about now?
It was People Magazine came out and said with an image on their social media of Kylie, right? Who is Travis Scott said, pregnant Kylie Jenner, unharmed at a Travis Scott concert where 8 people died. I mean, if you want to talk about kind of like tone deaf, that's it. Like,
no, I'll give you that, man.
like,
I'll give you that.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, 8 people died.
No,
Right?
I'll give you that. That's different. That's the editor.
It's like, oh, okay. Thank God she's okay.
But
8 people died.
But that's the reality.
Yeah.
Now, case in point, if 8 people didn't die, but she did, this would be a huge story.
Of course.
The 8 people who died, meh. And the reason, as far as stories go, I'm not saying their lives are bad. I'm saying as far as the story goes, primarily because they're not as famous as she is.
Yeah. So Travis Scott's being canceled like big time. There's all these rumors that he knew what was going on. I don't see any evidence of that.
As far as like the security, because of the security staff.
They came up on stage in the back. I saw those videos, and evidently he did stop the concert earlier. Actually, no, not evidently. I saw the video earlier where someone had passed out.
Ian's good at this again. You're right. I know, but that's my point. So Ian says, "quote unquote," software formats the titles, headlines based on reach potential. Completely with you.
You're right.
You got to be the most aggressive things.
Right. It's all about the algorithm.
I'm completely with you. But this is where.
But it comes back like you always say, dollars and cents.
That's my
saying
point.
8 people died at the concert is not the same as pregnant Kylie Jenner because that's what people are searching for.
Correct. Clickbait.
So, but
which is a show I cannot watch on Netflix, by the way. Wow, with garbage acting. Sorry.
I'm on episode 2.
Oh my God, how are you surviving? Roshan is just a horrible character too, by the way.
The who?
Roshan. Dude can't act for anything, man. What a garbage actor that guy is too. Yeah. Sorry.
People are trying to cancel Travis Scott as if he had anything to do with this. And now I saw a post that Nike, a whole movement that Nike should pause, not cancel, all collaborations with Travis Scott. Now you wouldn't know this, but some of his shoes are dope as hell and expensive as hell. Like 4-figure shoes for a pair of sneakers. And they're saying cancel those, pause those for now, no more Travis Scott stuff. And I can't comprehend why.
Because we want to be outraged over nothing. The whole society is driven on outrage. Who can outrage whom? It's foolish, right? Now, if you're saying homie went in there and had a bunch of cattle or horses and caused people to stampede and then trample each other, different story. But that's a pretty ridiculous scenario. The dude went on stage
cattle
to
and horses because of the word stampede?
Yeah, I was trying to find a ways to go now. Yeah. But I mean, it's my point, right? It doesn't. I don't understand how the dude caused this scenario and why one would be canceled for such a thing. Like, I don't understand that dynamic. But I don't know why we want to rush to canceling people over dumb shit like this anyway. But that's ridiculous, right? And the last thing I want to touch on is The Harder They Fall. Did you see it yet?
I did.
Liked it? Didn't like it?
Real quick, and we'll get back to it so I don't forget. In today's version of Who Knows, who knows that there were about 20 to 25% black cowboys in the mid-19th century? I had no clue.
Neither
you know why? Because Hollywood told us there weren't any. That's exactly why.
No, Hollywood.
That's all I know.
Hollywood just focused on the ones they want to focus on. They didn't tell you there were any black. They didn't tell you
that all the characters in The Harder They Fall are all
part of based on real people. Yes.
Real characters, real cowboys, real people.
Yeah.
Who were black.
True.
Good and bad people. The characters in there, all black, all cowboys. I had no idea. After watching the movie, I did the research and found this out.
But the movie, what I liked about the movie was the movie wasn't about black cowboys. And what I mean by that is it was just a movie about cowboys. They all were black, obviously, but it wasn't the story. How best do I phrase that? Right. Like, it's not like we're watching it because they're black. It was a good movie and they're black cowboys. That's almost like an aside, right? Which is the movie was good, which I didn't go into it expecting good movies only because it's Netflix and they do a bunch of garbage movies. But the soundtrack was actually pretty dope. It was a classic Western, shot well, done with modern times. But the reason I bring that up is because what you brought up right there is they were all based on real characters. So now you got people going out on the other side going that the person representing character A, B, or C wasn't black enough, dark enough, fat enough, anything enough. My point is you can't win. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like you just can't win. In the Heights, same thing. Hey, full Latin musical, right? Based out of New York in the Heights, amazing. People weren't black enough. They weren't Latin enough. They weren't this enough. There's never enough. You can't win. Like, this is the flack you're going to get for a show, and then you wonder why people don't want to do more of these things, because no matter what they do, you're going to yell at it on one side or the other.
Is there a big uproar over this, though, or more support over for this one? I know there was a big uproar for In the Heights, but for I didn't even hear about what you're saying with the Cowboys in this one. Is there actually
okay?
Is it
this
kind
goes back
of
to media, big
outliers, or is there a big uproar?
Big's a strong word, but there is an uproar over this, yes, because it's not the large populace. The large populace could give a crap. What large populace, first of all, didn't know they're based on true characters, is number one. Secondly, and had no idea what those real characters even looked like, right? So there was no direct correlation one to one. But more so than that is, why do we got to be so? I mean, why do we got to nitpick on all this stuff, man? This is the first film that called out a bunch of actual black cowboys. Boom, that's dope. And with black people, black directors, black musical artists, all the stuff was there. And now you're saying it's not black enough? No. And you want people to go out and make another one? Are you going to come back and say that's too black? Like, what? Like, I mean, what happens here? Like, why are we?
Spoiler alert!
Why the need to nitpick? Spoiler alert! How's that a spoiler alert, idiot?
I think you know.
So yeah, that was my other rant.
I'm a big fan of Jonathan Majors, by the way.
Really?
He's the guy from Lovecraft Country.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I think he's a decent actor.
Okay, how about this? I'm a much bigger fan. I'm just comparing people in the movie. Idris Elba has always been a great actor for me in so much stuff we watch. And Lakeith Stanfield.
That dude is dope. Now that dude is dope.
I guess I'd say I'm much.
Character
I don't know
why
I said Jonathan Majors. Those two.
His acting is dope. All that stuff is dope.
Yeah.
Like, that dude is dope, right? Lakeith Stanfield, and his character was awesome, and all the stuff was awesome.
Yeah, it was. It was even the vernacular and the inflection of his tone.
Oh,
and the way
man, that dude's a talent.
Yeah.
That dude's a talent. Jonathan Majors,
yeah, it's true. I don't know.
He's there.
Yeah.
Like,
all right, you convinced me.
I'm not telling you to not like who you want to like.
I'm just thinking about the other characters, other actors in the movie I like in other movies.
There's so many good, there's so many good actors in the thing, and he was decent.
Did you know our boy Delroy Lindo is British?
British.
Yeah.
Delroy Lindo ain't no British. Shut up.
Yes.
No way. Hold up. Yeah. I mean, when did he leave the UK? Like 1950 something? That dude.
No, it's in the 70s.
No way.
Yeah, and I heard him the other day, and you can still there's the inflection of his voice in there. First of all, with the name Delroy, I'm assuming he has some.
I thought you were going to say Jamaican. That's what you're going to say.
I'm looking it up. He has to have.
Hold up. Are you assuming? Oh, you mean he has to have Jamaican?
100%. You can't name Delroy and not have. You have to have.
I'm looking at it right now. Delroy Lindo is
not
British.
Son of Jamaican parents who immigrated to England.
Okay, that part makes sense.
Can't name Delroy.
Holy crap, he's from the UK.
Oh no, he moved when he was 16.
That's what I'm saying, man. This dude is British.
No, but I heard him the other day, and you could hear a little bit of that British still in there.
Man, he's British like I am Jamaican, guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, man. British people is the rest of them. Idris is British, and I don't know why I called it Idris versus Idris, but either way. But either way, the movie was good, is my point. The movie was good and entertaining.
What about cultural appropriation in the movie?
Continue.
The music. I don't know. I'm making a straw.
People?
I'm making the straw man.
Straw man?
Yes.
Okay, that's a very good question. So now you're so here's another thing. We're going down this path, right? Not we. I'm going to go down this path. So you remember, and I don't know what the lines are here. You remember, what's his face from Breaking Bad? Walt, whatever his real name is. I'm forgetting his name right now. Right? He played a character with Kevin Hart in this movie, which is based off a French movie where he was a person in a wheelchair, and Kevin Hart was his caretaker.
I never saw it.
Right. Yeah. And that was actually the French version. The dude who played Kevin Hart, which is kind of comedic, is Lupin. So they cast Kevin Hart when they originally as a giant man. But either way, and he got flack for it because he was playing a handicapped person versus them casting a handicapped person. And I have a very weird thing with this because acting as a whole is playing characters or doing things that are not, if otherwise to just be, dude. Like I don't, where does one draw the line in that scenario? Or what should the line be? Like, why do we need to cause this ruckus over that? Like, and by the way, I'm not like, if there is an amazingly, I'm sure there's talented people across the board, right? But are you not allowed to portray people with an ailment or have to find somebody who actually has said ailment before I can portray him or her? Like, I don't get this whole thing. Like it doesn't make any sense to me.
But was that a big controversy too, or was that
it was a huge thing?
Mm-hmm.
And I chuckled at it then too, because I don't know what are the options? Like, why are we acting? Because I don't know what we're doing here. And then to your point, when the cultural appropriation thing, although you said it in jest, right? I'm sure there are people who are going to complain about that stuff too, as it relates to they're not Caribbean, but whatever. Now Delroy can say he's Jamaican, so he can get away with some of that stuff there. But it's there's too much minutiae here. We go on these paths against nobody.
So I just read something about How Do They Fall? It's really Stagecoach Mary. Such a name, Stagecoach Mary.
Who's played by?
And I've mentioned this to you before. You didn't realize it before, though. In a lot of film and TV shows, the women are light skinned.
Yes.
The men are not.
But you had Zazie, and then you had what's her face?
So in real life, Stagecoach, whether or not she was or not, right?
But hold on. But on the flip side, Idris was darker than the guy Idris was portraying. You heard that part as well, right?
I know I don't know if he was darker, because I saw an image of Jonathan Major's character, Nat, so Major was Idris's character, because I looked at him and I said, wow, this guy looks like mixed with native. And evidently Idris's character is in real life was half black, half
was lighter. That's what I'm saying. He was a lighter skinned person played by Idris, who was the opposite. So then does that balance each other out now?
No, but that's to my point, that the men are always darker. You see the thing, because
you're saying men are darker and women are lighter.
That's going. You just proved the point.
No, you just but I didn't realize the point is proving, which is probably a good reason to prove that point. That makes sense.
Yeah. So that's where the controversy is on the movie.
Right
or wrong is that often in film and things, characters, even if it's not portraying somebody, just a role, right? Many of the, how do we put this, younger and more what would be deemed attractive roles and women are portrayed by lighter skinned women.
It's all of that. Anyway, I got some at the door. I got to cut. Abrupt pause. Abrupt end to the show. You guys have a good one.
Be better. Justice over order. Eat better. Eat better, people.
Yes, listen to them.
All right.
Later.
Cool.